What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank y'all so much for joining me for this being my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 16, episode 10. So I will be talking about the entire episode. That would take up too much time and too much memory. I'm just going to talk about the things that stood out to me. So we have Shamia. She's meeting up with Ralph, and Portia is going to come along as well a little bit later on. But Shamia is talking to Ralph about a possible podcast. She says she had been on a podcast with Ralph previously, and he's talking to her about possibly joining him on another podcast in the future. And that is not the only reason why she's talking to Ralph. She's also talking to Ralph because she wants some tea on Miss Drew, and wants to know, for some reason, from Ralph, if Drew is doing anything with Dennis. I don't know why Ralph would have that information. I don't know why Ralph would care about that information. But, of course, Shamia is just being messy, which is surprising for me because I've seen Shamia on this season of Housewives of Atlanta so far as the girl who does not want to get into the mess and is not interested in the mess. So the fact that she's doing this, and it also seems like possibly Portia has something to do with this meeting going on. But anyways, apparently Ralph is the one who calls Shamia up to meet up with him. But anyways, Portia comes along. And the meeting is no longer talking about some type of podcast, but we get on to Drew and what's happening between Drew and Dennis. And so Portia shares this text message with Ralph that Dennis shared with her about him saying that he does not want to have sex with Drew, but he just needs his money. Which for me, when I watch Real Housewives of Atlanta and someone is addressing a text message of some sort or an email of some sort, a lot of times they'll put the text message or email up on the screen for the viewers to see so they'll have an idea of what is actually said in said text message. However, that did not happen in this case. So something tells me that this text message does not exist. However, that's a whole nother thing. The girls end up asking Ralph, why did you file for divorce? Who filed first? And Ralph said he's the one that filed first, and he filed because he found out that Drew had some type of infidelity with some other person. I believe this was this woman who was Mimi from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's ex, some girl. I can't remember exactly what her name was or what her significance has been on the show. However, apparently, Ralph is saying that that's the reason why he filed for divorce. And then they also ask Ralph if he ever cheated on Drew. He denies it, but he's not too convincing, at least not to me. But anyways, and so there's really not much that comes out of that particular meeting. Not necessarily important either, but I do think that this is a way for Portia to sort of kind of get back at Drew for filming with Dennis, and so now she can say, ha 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 ha, I filmed with Ralph, your ex-husband, and so I just think that's all this is for Portia. But anyways, and so we then also get a scene with Angela and Kelly. And Angela is bringing Kelly to this property that she's renovating for sale. Angela admits that she's a couple $1,000,000 in debt due to these 5 properties that she's trying to. I don't know if you would necessarily call this flipping. I don't know if she's doing house flipping or just renovations, whatever the case might be. She really wants Kelly to say that she wants to buy this house, but Kelly's not interested whatsoever. But anyways, Angela tells Kelly that, this whole rumor about a baby about Charles Oakley having a baby on her, she said that is not true. She said that she was at some party with Wendy Williams, and Wendy Williams asked her about some type of infidelity. And, she said that, she was talking about someone else having a baby on her. I wasn't necessarily sure about that whole story that Angela was telling to Kelly. But apparently Wendy reported this story on her show. And that's how the rumor got started that Charles had a baby on her. But apparently that is not true. I wouldn't believe it to be true. Angela did admit to some infidelity on Charles's part, in their relationship. And that was the reason why they had some type of break of some sort. So there's that. But anyways, I do want to move on to Portia and Angela's meeting. So Portia is meeting Angela at another one of Angela's renovation properties, and they're on the tennis court. Portia looks really, really cute in this scene, and that takes a lot for me to say something good about Portia because I really don't care for her whatsoever. But anyways, and so they have this conversation, and Angela also talked to Kelly about the fact that Angela talked to Shamia concerning Shamia and Portia's friendship. And apparently, Shamia shared that she doesn't want to be seen as Portia's lapdog. And she also feels as though she's putting a lot more into the friendship than Portia is. And Portia doesn't seem to be the best of a friend or as good of a friend as Portia likes to make it seem as though she is. And so Portia is seemingly affected by this. She has a fan, and so she puts the fan in front of her face. It sounds like she's crying, but I believe that this is not genuine. I don't believe that Portia is affected in any way by this, at least not emotionally affected. I'm sure she is affected by it, but emotionally, child please. So anyways, we then get to this event that Portia is doing for her new line of linens and bedding and things of that nature. And so she asks all of the girls to dress up in their finest negligee. She has them take pictures for her. Again, this looks like free promo for Portia's products, but anyways, the girls acquiesce and they take the pictures. And Shamia and Kelly go to the side, and Kelly, is checking on Shamia, seeing how she's doing, and Kelly reveals to Shamia the information that Angela has revealed to the other girls. And so Shamia is shocked by this news, and she is really affected by this news. And at this point, I'm thinking, is Shamia going to be upset with Angela for spilling the tea that Shamia shared with her? And it seems like Shamia shared that under the influence of some drinks. Who knows what the case might be, but the girls are having some type of meditation type thing. I don't know what this has to do with Portia's product. I don't know if they use this just as a segue to get into this sister talk that they're having, but Shamia is not participating in the meditation because she's affected by what Angela revealed about Portia and Shamia's relationship, or friendship rather. And then the subject comes up, and Angela comes out and says, well, Shamia, you told me that you don't want to be seen as Portia's lapdog, that you are a real friend. And she also brought up the fact that Shamia said that Portia did not want Shamia on the show. Portia tried to say that that's not true and all this good stuff, and there's a whole back and forth between Shamia and Portia, and Portia's true colors start to show. And for me, what's most frustrating is that both Shamia and Portia have known amongst one another that they've had these issues between them. Why is it that they are going along as though there are no issues between them, that they are on the good foot, that there are no problems whatsoever? But you know that you have these issues. You know that you have these problems. So why are we not addressing the issues? So I'm so glad that we are addressing these issues. And I'm so glad that Shamia is finally speaking up for herself. Because I really thought that we were not going to address this whatsoever. I thought that we were going to have to wait until the reunion to address these issues. But thankfully, we are addressing them now. So I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we got to this point. Portia starts saying, well, I guess I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a no good person. Well, Portia, you are showing that you are a piece of shit. I know that might sound a little bit mean, but that's just how I feel, because she has been coming for Shamia this entire season, talking about her like she's not her friend. And then when Shamia, happily is sharing her music with the girls at Angela's event, Portia's like, oh, that sounds like a Drew song. Is that Drew on the track? What is that? Like, Portia is not acting like a friend whatsoever. And I'm so glad that Shamia is finally addressing this with Portia. Now, Shamia was on Watch What Happens Live that aired right after Housewives of Atlanta, and she did admit that her and Portia are not on good terms right now, and of course they will be addressing this at the reunion. So I'm so glad, I'm so happy that this issue between Portia and Shamia is finally being addressed. What do you guys think about this whole thing between Portia and Shamia? And are you surprised that Shamia wasn't upset with Angela for spreading, what she shared with Angela seemingly in confidence, because it was not aired or it was not recorded on the show? So what do you guys feel about that? Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. It takes less than a second to mash that thing, so go ahead and mash it. Be sure to give me a thumbs up on this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to leave a comment under this video. Let me know your thoughts on what's happening on the season thus far. What are your thoughts on Portia and Shamea? Tell me the tea. Give me your thoughts down in the comments. Also, be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Last but not least, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. Once again, I am JoJo Speaks from Faith Warrior Ministries. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out, you guys.